Hi there, this is Time for Talking or Emeris from timefortalking.com. Spiritual mentoring for your body, mind and soul. Thanks for stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. Before you go, please do consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel. Remember, we are all one, so with these simple and free clicks, you can help to spread love and light to yourself and more people. The divine appreciates your assistance in making this world a more loving and light-filled place, and I thank you. So now, let's talk spirituality. Today I'd like to talk to you about the different evolutionary stages and states we all go through. As I'll be going through all three states and all three sub-stages too, this video is slightly longer than usual, but please bear with me as I'll be giving you real examples for you to have real-life knowledge behind the terms of each stage and state. For this example, let's think of an aspect with Neptune in a natal chart. Naturally, the entire chart would be necessary to look at, but for an easier example, I'll be only focusing on this one planet. When looking at the consensus state for this at the beginning stage, a Neptune influence will not show much own creativity nor individual thinking. The person would be quote-unquote just getting used to fit into society, and the way the person acts always only depends on their surrounding others. At the middle stage, a Neptune influence would only show some personal behavior if and when neighbors or friends would do the same. So say one's friends are for partying, such Neptune influence could result in consuming too much alcohol or even drugs, but always still dependent on their surrounding people. Say the person's friends are football fans who party a lot. Again, with a Neptune influence, such person is likely to try to fit in by doing the same, which again could lead to excessive use of alcohol or drugs while partying. At the advanced stage, a Neptune influence would present itself by often being involved in forms of traditional religions or religious groups, often taking leading roles in those, but with it leading those groups more to repeat the past, even if they appear to be changing something. So you see, the consensus state is all about keeping up with your neighbor or the Joneses, so to speak. And the divine can and will only be sought through traditional man-made religions. During this state, people only always move away from source, i.e., their only interest lies on the material world. And Neptune's creativity at this consensus level could also be expressed by, for example, sewing your own clothes. But when doing that, the person would only sew what, quote-unquote, society tells you to wear and wouldn't dare yet to make an own personal fashion statement or similar. When looking at the individuated state for this, at the beginning stage, a Neptune influence will show people being torn between some glimpses of own thinking, even creative ventures, but still trying to find some form of security from society. However, at this stage, people start to not being able to relate fully to people of the consensus state any longer. So, for example, regarding religious beliefs, they start to question them, but don't have the courage yet to publicly stand up against those. So they will only have some why questions, but would not share them. They might also secretly read a book on questions behind any religion, etc. Or, after having had certain dreams in their sleep, secretly try to find out what those dreams might mean. But at this stage, the dream analysis would be more on a traditional level only, and always only in private and in secret. At the middle stage, a Neptune influence would show some rebellion with regards to their beliefs and also ways to express their creativity. However, this rebellion, which they also feel within themselves, really confuses them, but might also sometimes lead to some drastic decisions, like leaving certain groups, family members, religions, etc. But the latter is likely to only happen at the end of that middle stage, and sometimes only happens in the advanced stage. At the advanced stage, a Neptune influence would lead to more and more secure knowledge and confidence to be themselves more, with regards to what they believe, even if this makes them stand out from society or friends. But with this usually comes inner peace from truly accepting who they are, unique and different. During this stage, the why questions are started to get asked, and also on a deeper level, and with those questions also being open now to truthfully answer those questions. And so they would be openly diving into their dreams and their meanings, which would at this stage be more focused on a spiritual level. And now these souls will also be interested in spiritual topics more and more. So you see, the individuated state is all about finding one's own voice in society, and with it one's own path. And in the first two stages, the divine is still only seen through man-made religions, and only in the third stage, topics of spirituality rather than religion are started to be considered. In this stage, stages 1 and 2, people are still moving away from source. They still require and seek outside security from society. But now, with time, questioning society more and more. But only in the third stage, people find their own voice, and at the end of the stage, start moving more back to source. And Neptune's creativity in the individuated state could be now questioning society's fashion rules more and more, and seeking one's own style. And from the second stage onwards, people would then also dare to create one-of-a-kind pieces and be proud of them, and also show them to others. The latter, at least at the end of that stage. In the spiritual state for this, at the beginning stage, a Neptune influence will let people focus and fully understand and live the natural spiritual laws and principles, as opposed to human-made religions and societal conditioning. People at this state and stage understand that astrology is a natural law and understand the as above so below principle. In this stage, the returning desire to source becomes stronger, i.e. their spiritual growth rather than the material world or endeavors about that is in focus. There might still be, but only at the very start of that state, some very occasional separating desires, i.e. diving into the material world, but they now realize and apply tools to walk a more conscious path. And the longer they are in this stage, the less focus will be placed onto material things or materialistic behavior, i.e. the material world. Souls in this stage might use their creativity to express their spirituality openly, as well, say with music or paintings, etc. At the middle stage, a Neptune influence would usually eliminate ego needs completely, as people at this stage fully understand that their soul, not the ego, will merge back with source, i.e. they know that they are only currently in a human but temporary experience, playing a certain role that was chosen by themselves before they incarnated. Souls in this stage are also often likely to use their creativity to express their spirituality even more than in the beginning stage. At the advanced stage, a Neptune influence would open the doors to an even more spiritual path, completely surrendering and merging with source while doing so. Enlightenment, soul purpose, as well as service to others is the main agenda driving such souls, with love, light, and peace. The longer they lived in this stage, the closer those souls come to becoming a master and avatar, and with it ending the started cycle of their soul's evolution. During the spiritual state, it is rather unlikely that consumption of alcohol or drugs is still an issue, as those souls know they wear a human suit, but they still look after it and always act with love, which isn't the case when consuming alcohol or using drugs. So you see, the spiritual state is all about truly following a spiritual path and awakening more and more through enlightenment and living one's purpose with love, light, and peace. And here people are completely staying away from man-made religions. People in this state only seek answers within themselves. As there is this great phrase that Neil Donald Walsh, or rather the divine, mentions in the Conversations with God books: if you don't go within, you'll go without. And people in this state understand this and live by it too. So people in this state follow a daily meditation practice as well. In this state, people also understand and know that we all are living illusions, and so while one still lives in those illusions while being incarnated, it is not serving to ever overlook such illusions, nor not to use the illusions for what they were intended, i.e., people in this state live in a world but don't become that one, as they understand that they are a divine, eternal being simply having a human experience right now, nothing more. So you can see that there are really huge differences between these three states, and a Neptune influence in the consensus state wouldn't be about complete enlightenment yet at all, but to perhaps look more after one's body and to watch the alcohol and drug intake. And a Neptune influence in the individuated state wouldn't even be about fully living one's soul purpose, at least not in the first two stages, but more to be open to the why questions that the person notices at this level, or to listen more to calm music rather than to hard rock music, or even to do some coloring in for relaxation. And in the third stage then, perhaps to try out some breathing meditation, but to relax only, or to start a gratitude journal. And only at the spiritual state would the Neptune influence be really about full enlightenment and truly living one's soul purpose, using meditations daily to connect with the divine and one's soul, as well as understand and also live the "we are all one" principle. However, something really important to mention here as well. In this video, I have focused on a Neptune influence with regards to the evolutionary stages and states. But I have also discovered the following. Some people who are in the public eye, so to speak, and who work as, for example, so-called top mediums or psychics, though they are, quote unquote, talking about spiritual topics, quite often they are actually still only in the middle stage of the individuated state. One can notice this when those people claim to be only interested in wanting to help people, but they still mainly focus on their material world. And often they are not necessarily actually walking a spiritual path, nor even walking in love and light. And also do get some spiritual facts or facts about the afterlife or souls quite wrong. This is simply as they are actually not that spiritually experienced yet at all. Naturally, one would not necessarily know whether those people have any Neptune indication to this in their charts, but I just have noticed this a lot. And I know that I mentioned in this video that in the individuated state, people are still focusing on man-made religions only. But as those people are actually not really walking a spiritual path yet, even though they are working in the medium psychic field, it still works like, or is quite similar to, a man-made religion, simply as they are trying to get people to follow them, like in a religion. So you can see that it's always necessary to do actually check in with the divine before making any general assumptions. Just to add this side as well to the video explanation, for full disclosure, so to speak. But you can also see that these stages and states are sometimes much more complicated than they appear to the outside world. And knowing all of this will help immensely when interpreting a natal chart. This brings the example through the stages and states to an end. But naturally, as mentioned above, for a complete and accurate picture, the entire natal chart is needed to look at, as that will give the specifics on what the focus will lie on in each stage and state. But some important closing wisdom. We need to remember, or at least bear in mind, that we all will go through all of the mentioned stages and states. So it's not like someone in the spiritual stage would be better than someone, quote unquote, just in the consensus stage. We all will reach our destinations, but we all also have had totally different kinds of, as well as amounts of experiences on our paths to that destination. That's all, nothing more. Something to keep in mind. Not sure what state or stage you are in, or how to move to the next level, or simply live with them? I can help. That's all for now. Get inspired. Thanks for watching till the end. You can always reach me on timefortalking.com with white light from here.